gentlemen, here she is, wearing the coolest, most colorful outfit I've ever seen. Ladies and gentlemen, Connie Dieken.
Hi, everybody. Good morning. Hello. Let's make some noise again. Good morning. I'm here today because I'd like to spark a transformation on how you experience 3 words. Just be yourself. Every time you face the unknown, someone feeds you this tired old cliche, just be yourself, like popping a pacifier into your mouth. Haven't you secretly wondered if just being yourself was really enough? I know I have. I'm feeling that right now. I believe just be yourself is incomplete advice if you want to be successful in today's marketplace. Well-meaning, but inadequate. It begs for more substance and measurement, because what the world is really telling you is be yourself, but measure up. The senior leaders that I coach understand this. They are painfully aware of this. They realize that performance is under the microscope like never before. And you may be feeling it too. You are living in a world that comes at you, testing you, judging you. In the blink of an eye, everything can change. As Paula Deen can attest, just be yourself is woefully incomplete advice. And therein lies the problem. We are living in a world that demands perfection, yet craves authenticity. It's a paradox. Think about it. You cannot be perfect and authentic. In your industry, for example, you are expected to measure up by putting on perfect meetings despite lower budgets and tighter time frames, and to be really jolly person as you are weaving this magic. You're expected to be superhuman and human at the very same time. We are all so exposed today, and people can't wait to find fault. And the thing is, no one is immune. Now listen to this part.
She was clearly having some sort of audio problems. You could see she pulled out her earpiece at one point during singing, but you would not have known from her performance that she was struggling on any level.
Men never know when women are faking it, do they? Beyoncé said that she lip-synced because she is a perfectionist, and she didn't want to mess up during such a momentous occasion. I don't know about you, but I have struggled with this authenticity and perfection trap for years. Any perfectionists in the room? Oh yeah, I would think so here. As you can imagine, being on television meant facing a lot of criticism. Snipers were everywhere, tossing verbal grenades. They sent me letters and emails like, "Your butt looks fat in those pants," or "You really shouldn't wear that color, honey, it drains your face," or "Your hair is ugly." Well, of course it was ugly. It was the late 80s. We had big shoulder pads and big hair, didn't you? My hair was teased, it was lacquered, it was a helmet. And yet, I was expected to keep it real beneath that beehive. Strange thing though, some people can transcend the problem. You just know they are the real deal. Nelson Mandela, he's a Nobel laureate. Stephen Hawking, astrophysicist. Oprah Winfrey, billionaire businesswoman. Sir Ken Robinson, education advisor. Maybe you've booked Jill Bolte Taylor, a neuroscientist. For others, the court of public opinion has ruled they are not the real deal. Turns out they were faking it in plain sight. Like Lance Armstrong. All right? Yes, he was a cyclist, but also a doper. Martha Stewart, lifestyle maven and convict. Donald Trump, real estate mogul and blowhard. Carly Fiorina, CEO until she was an ousted CEO. And David Petraeus, general and adulterer. And then there are some people who are sending you mixed signals. We're just not sure. Are they the real deal or not? I mean, Steve Jobs, he's a visionary, wasn't he? But was he also a bully? Oscar Pistorius, Blade Runner, until he was a killer. Bethany Frankel, real housewife or entrepreneur? Nancy Grace, advocate and journalist? And then there's poor Manti Te'o, linebacker and dupe. At this point, you may be asking yourself, where do you fit in? How do people size you up? Do they see you as the real deal? And what is the real deal anyway? I wondered the same thing, so I conducted a research study. It began when I started my coaching practice 13 years ago, because my clients, despite their status, were wrestling with a leadership dilemma. They told me that being is more challenging than doing. And I wanted to get to the root cause of why some people can influence people consistently while other people are hit and miss. The results of this study surprised me, because it turns out being and being seen as the real deal comes down to this one word: presence. Which begs the question, what exactly is presence? Clearly, just being yourself doesn't get the job done. You may be surprised to learn that presence is not an X factor. My study showed that it is a measurable process. Did you know that you have inner, verbal, and outer presence? These three layers are both autonomous and interrelated, and they measure three things about you: your stability, your credibility, and your likability. Yeah, you're Sybil. Combine them, and you are seen, and you feel that you are the real deal. This matters, because when others believe that you are the real deal, they trust you, they listen to you, they willingly follow you. If they don't think you're the whole package, the opposite occurs. They ignore you, they stall, they even undermine you. In other words, everything is at stake. We'll talk more about inner and verbal presence in my sessions this afternoon at 2 o'clock and 5:30. But for now, I'd like to touch on just one of these: outer presence. What is this? Your outer presence has a remarkable ability to change how people respond to you. But most of us have this outer presence thing fundamentally backwards. All right? We think of it as what we look like. I know I sure did in those years on television as I was getting my hair all ready. It's what you look like. No, it's not. After a decade as an executive coach, I have arrived at a completely different conclusion. Your outer presence is not what you look like. Your outer presence is how you make people feel. For example, you may intend to be detail-oriented, but others may experience you as a control freak. Why? Because they feel that you're not listening to them. An outer presence is how you make others feel. I'd like you to think of it here as a teeter-totter, all right? When you're centered, you draw people in. They feel good about you. They're getting good vibes. They have a positive experience with you, and they respond positively to you, which is the only true metric of your influence. But this blew me away. Only 13% of leaders in this study felt that they are centered in outer presence consistently. 75% of leaders in this study said that their intentions are often misunderstood, and they come across as having too much outer presence. They slip into pretender mode in an effort to impress others. Do you do that? We all do, sometimes. But hopefully not as much as this fella.
Leave Britney Spears alone right now! I mean it. Anyone who has a problem with her, you deal with me. Because she's not well right now.
And neither am I. On the other hand, do you sometimes feel invisible? If so, you're displaying too little inner presence. You're the ghost. You're easily overlooked or unappreciated. And you make no impression on people at all. It would be very easy to fall into that state here at a huge conference. Does this happen to you? And how do you center your inner presence despite challenging conditions or certain people who just throw you into a tailspin? One way to do this is with your face, all right? Recently, a video went viral, and it was a spoof, but there is an underlying element of truth. You ready? All right, I wouldn't use these words, but here we go.
Hi. Do you know someone with a bitchy face?
They look like they're kind of thoughtfully sad or angry for no reason.
Oh, look! That woman has a bitchy face. I wonder why.
I can't see a reason why.
That's bitchy resting face.
That's bitchy resting face.
That's bitchy resting face.
All right, gentlemen in the room, don't get smug. All right, it's not just women, it's men too. It is all living things. My point is, you do have a resting face, and sometimes you are grumpy cat. Actually, most of the time, other people experience you as grumpy cat. If people frequently say to you, "What's wrong? Is everything okay? Is something wrong?" If you get asked that question a lot, you have this problem. Your resting face looks like you smelled something bad. And bad news, the older you get, the grumpier looking your face gets as it falls to the floor. So there is a solution, all right? It is simple physics. Let me explain. Did you realize that you have 80 muscles in your cranium? And the way you position 2 of them can completely transform your outer presence. These 2 muscles are called your levator labii muscles. They connect your mouth to your eyes, all right? You can see them up there, but what do? Lots of my clients have this problem with these muscles here, and people are misreading their vibes. They put with them the wrong intention. So I show them what I call the magic move, and I'd like to show it to you now. You ready? Okay, all right, the magic move. Take your index fingers, all right, and place them on the outside of your lips, right here. Okay, now, here's what I need you to do. Pull them up until your eyes are engaged. All right, now let go of your fingers, because you'd look awfully silly if you walked around like this all day. All right, so take them down. Now, your crow's feet should show, except for you young people who don't have crow's feet yet. All right, yeah, well, you will. All right, voila, you all have happy resting face. You look like you care, even if you don't. And that, my friends, is what I call the magic move. It's not a fake plastered on smile. How's this working for you? People know when it's not you have a disingenuous smile, right? And it works against you. But it's also not grumpy face. It's just pleasant. Now, you may be wondering, why does this matter, Connie? Because of the psychological principle of reciprocity. What we have learned is that there are mirror neurons in your brain, and people will give back to you what they feel you are giving to them. So now that we're all making the moves on each other, I'd like to challenge you. The real deal is inside of you, just waiting to show up. You are the real deal. The key is to stay centered, consistently, not episodically. I know it isn't as simple as it sounds. I know because I've experienced this firsthand. I have to balance myself every day. But I promise you that showing up as the real deal is worth the effort. It's liberating. Your clients want you to be the real deal. Your industry here in this room needs you to be the real deal. Most important, you want to be the real deal. There are real deal ribbons for you outside, and I hope that you will proudly display them on your badges. Thank you, MPI. It is such an honor to be here. Thank you, everybody. Thank you.
Connie, how are you?
I'm
Connie,
good.
other hand, everybody.
Oh, thank you. Thank you very much.
So, Connie, I have a question for you.
Okay.
And I know lots of people probably have questions. It's such a great presentation. But I'm thinking about if I'm out there and I'm bridging the gap between, let's say, a vendor and an executive and this person and a budget and a crew, and I want to be my authentic self and have that presence. But at the same time, I don't want to come off like I used to be a control freak, just so you guys know. I'm a recovering control freak.
Who in this room's a control freak or been labeled one?
No one's going to raise their hands.
Yeah, of course not. Who's detail-oriented? There we go. Yeah, see, we like our own labels, don't we? Yeah.
I like that. That was good.
Yeah, detail.
So how do you answer that? How do I have that presence without looking like I'm trying to control it?
Influence begins within. And so we need to center ourselves. And most of us think that we can just handle things as they come. If we are not centered ourselves, then the words come out wrong. So it begins with that inner presence where we just say, I'm not going to get too anxious about this, nor too narcissistic, which are the two sides. I'm going to stay centered in myself, and then the words come out right so that people are not misunderstanding you. See, verbal presence, if you'll think of this as a transfer mechanism, transferring those great ideas in your head to other people so they don't misunderstand them. And then your outer presence, other people will experience you the way you intend. So it starts on that anchor of inner presence.
And do you have, just one final thought, do you have like a go-to thing that you do? So you're about to go into a situation like that. What is your sort of grounding and centering?
The first thing I do is I have to realize what is it that throws me off center? And I'm asking you to think, what is it that consistently throws you off center? Is it a certain person or a certain situation? Prepare for that. And the next thing you know, you say, I'm going to center myself. And if you're having anxious thoughts, you just say, stop. Center. And off you go, just like you were doing some yoga or something up here early this morning. You were doing some meditation. Yes,
busted.
See? You were centering yourself.
I did get a weird look for meditating in the middle of the stage earlier.
Yeah, well, perhaps it was the sleeping bag when we realized you'd all slept here overnight.
So it's so good to meet you.
Thank you.
And you
Great
did a great
to
job.
meet you,
Another
too.
hand for Connie.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you.